Okay, welcome to a special emergency, some might say, episode of the Chasing the Monster podcast. Alongside Griffin Aldrich, I'm David Karras, and a huge day in Red Sox Nation. Shocking day in Red Sox Nation. We go from a fun little game today where the Red Sox blew out the Orioles 17-1, finally getting their 10th win in the 27th game of the season. And, we're feeling great about that for like a few hours. And then 5 hours after the game, this shocking news gets dropped. And we have the official announcement from the Red Sox. As you can see from the bottom ticker, the biggest one is that the Red Sox fired their manager, Alex Cora, today. But also, five members of his coaching staff were fired. Hitting coach Pete Fatsey, third base coach Kyle Hudson, bench coach Ramon Vasquez, assistant hitting coach Dylan Lawson, and major league hitting strategy coach Joe Cronin. And also, run prevention coach Jason Veritek was reassigned to another role in the organization, and that will be announced at a later date. So basically, all in all, the Red Sox cleaned house. And I mean, the first word that comes to mind is obviously shocking. But Griffin, when you heard this news, what was your first initial reaction?
I mean, I was shocked, David. You saw like what 1 or 2 years that he wasn't the manager. In between, obviously the allegations with the Astros and everything, but other than that, he's been the Red Sox manager since the World Series, and it's kind of sad for me in a sense because I look at it and like when I was a kid when we won that World Series, and like he was alongside of that journey, but it just shows you that everyone is gone, right? Yeah, everyone is gone from that World Series team, pretty much, except for the owners. I mean, everyone is gone from that World Series team. And, obviously Alex Cora was that little piece we had left, but he is no longer a part of this. But as we're getting into it, I like a few of the moves that happen though, because gotta say, from Portland, but we'll get into that shortly. But it's sad. I really liked Alex Cora. I thought he was a very nice guy, and obviously, like you had to change something up. The Red Sox have been struggling, and it's something that it's like, all right, we gotta make a move. We gotta make a move, and this shook it up a little bit. It shook it up.
Yeah, I think it felt like Cora was destined to be a Red Sox for life. I mean, he played for the Red Sox in the mid 2000s, and it seemed like he was a perfect fit to be our manager when we hired him in 2018. And obviously, that proved true right away. We won a World Series in his first year as our manager. And then, there's the trying times, as you alluded to, Griffin, with the cheating scandal when he was the bench coach with the Astros, and then that ended with him being suspended for the 2020 season, then getting rehired about 8 months later by the Red Sox. And then we had that fun season in 2021 where the Red Sox overperformed, won 92 games with a somewhat mediocre roster, and a lot of that was a credit to Cora and his managing. And then 2022 and 2023, back to back 78 win seasons, last place finishes. 2024, you finished at 500. And then 2025 starts off rough in that first half, but from July on, it's a great story, and the Red Sox go on a run. Obviously, the season came up short last year in the playoffs, but the Red Sox made it back to the playoffs under Cora's management for the first time in 4 years. And then, obviously, so far this year, Cora exits the Red Sox with us having a 10-17 record. So, a lot of ups and downs, but for me, the biggest thing is just gratitude for the 2018
Mhm.
championship.
Yep.
And as you said too, Griffin, he did seem like a genuinely nice guy. I think the fact that he was able to connect with players from all different backgrounds, especially him being able to speak Spanish, was great for that locker room. With it, and it'll work well in any locker room. So it's mixed feelings. It's sad. It's weird. It is. weird uttering the sentence the Red Sox fired him twice, and this time feels a lot more somber, obviously, than the first time. But you know, I'm not here to debate, I guess, that this is his fault, if he deserved to get fired. It's just sad, but I mean, I wish him well. And for me, it's just gratitude for the championship.
Yeah, well, David, I think it must have went one of two ways. I think either you look at it, I think the Red Sox just wanted a new look. I feel like you look at what happened with the organization. They're off to a rough start, and basically the Red Sox organization was banking on Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer. Like once they're up, all right, we're back to a winning baseball team. And it feels like with Cora here, he was still the old working parts of the team. And it's like we have a new team, and obviously we're going to get into it, but a lot of young pieces, like not young pieces, but a lot of pieces that came up with Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer are going to be shifting up with the Red Sox. So I think one part of me looks at, all right, we need a new look, but another part is it just wasn't working because I mean, I don't know what happened when Narvaez or anything, but like maybe just things weren't going as planned or whatever. But I think I want to bank on, they wanted to have a new look and kind of shift it to like the guys who really developed Roman Anthony and all of them. Because again, they haven't been doing as well as they have been. I mean, last year, Roman Anthony was on fire, but it's not the same version that we saw last year and everything. But what are your thoughts, though, David?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into that when we announce who the new manager is as well. But that is one of the things I was thinking, Griffin, when they announced the new interim manager, is that they're going with a younger manager that spent time. They're going not even just with the manager. Again, we're kind of burying the lead here because we're going to talk about this in a few minutes. But a lot of the new coaches are from minor league affiliates of the Red Sox, and obviously the Red Sox, as you talked about, Griffin, are going through a huge youth movement right now. So at the big league level, they're going to be these young guys are going to be with the coaches that they spend time with in the minors. So I think that that's like an underrated part of this, or maybe it's not even underrated, but the fact that these guys are going to be with the coaches that they already have built a rapport with, built a good relationship with, I think that that's only going to be a benefit. And yeah, I mean, I guess you could say it kind of ran its course with Cora. Some will argue that. You know, I'm shocked that he did not outlast Breslow. I thought Breslow would go before Cora, so that's still shocking to me. And I think this just proves. I mean, we could get into this quickly. I'll ask you this, Griffin. With Craig Breslow, part of me wants to say he has job security for at least a couple more years, because if you fire Craig Breslow, no one is going to want to take this Red Sox GM job, because they're going to be like, why would I take this job only to get fired in a couple years after we've seen it with High Bloom, and then this situation hypothetically it'd be Breslow. You could go back to Ben Sherrington, Dave Dombrowski got fired a
Oh,
year.
I loved Dave Dombrowski.
Who
I had
didn't? Who didn't? He
when
was
he
great.
and you see what he's doing in Philly too. I mean, you see a big name guy, and it's like he has hands all over it. He's like, I love Dave Dombrowski. Can I say a funny story while we're on it, really quick?
Yeah, go for it.
It was funny. One of my first, not one of my first, but like, I guess, yeah, one of my first Red Sox games, like probably like third or fourth, something like that. We were walking after leaving the game, and Dave Dombrowski, I should have asked for a picture, but I was too young. I didn't even have a phone, but is walking through the concourse, and we like cross paths, and he has a briefcase, and then my mom's boyfriend at the time was like, that was Dave Dombrowski, and I was like, oh, that's so cool, and I was like, yeah, I thought that was him.
Yeah, that was back when the Red Sox meant
Yeah,
business and acted like a big market team. Dombrowski was not afraid to open up John Henry's checkbook, and that is another. Not to get too off track, Griffin, but
yeah,
I think the Phillies are going to go after Cora because Dombrowski has that relationship with Cora,
yeah.
so 100% could see that happening. But what are your thoughts on Breslow, getting back to that, like, do you think he has a few more years of job security based on the fact that he has the leverage? No one else is going to want to take this job if he gets fired. Or do you think this is a sort of last ditch effort to save his job, and basically he has the next 6 months to prove himself? So what I'm getting at is the rest of this, Breslow is GMing for his job basically, where the rest of the season is going to determine if he makes it through into 2027 or not. What do you think?
Well, that's a tough one. And even talking about the whole firing, it was funny. I'm working at the studio with the Sea Dogs, and I heard one of the talk shows say, like, one of their questions was, "Does should Breslow fire Cora?" And you see a couple of days later, this actually happened. So shout out the main radio station. So they were talking about that, but um, I look at this and I would say, yeah, I think he has a couple more years. You look at what he did last year. I mean, last year the Red Sox were a good team. Like, they made it to the playoffs, and I think especially he has a few more years because now you have a new look, and obviously you have moving parts now, and it's like you're gonna have a lot of new coaches and stuff, and it's like we were fortunate with the Celtics. Joe Mazzulla comes in and the team automatically is good just because of the culture there and everything. But it takes a while to establish a culture, especially when you have all new coaching staff. Like, that's tough. Like, these guys have been working together for a long time. And it's like all of a sudden everything just shifts in the organization. It's going to be an adjustment. And it's not like the Celtics where Ime Udoka is gone and Joe Mazzulla is the new head coach, but you have most of your bench coaches, like you have a lot of your coaching staff. Here, it's different. It's a huge shift, and like a lot of coaches are fired, and I don't know. I don't know. So I think he definitely has a couple years of job security for sure.
And just a few last notes on Cora. He will finish as in his 7+ seasons as the Red Sox manager. Cora finishes with a 619 win and 541 loss record, one World Series, one American League pennant, one third place. I'm sorry, three third place finishes, two fifth place finishes, and one second place finish. So again, just thank you to Alex Cora for everything he did for the Sox from the mid 2010s through the mid 2020s. Do you think he manages again this year, or do you think he takes the rest of the year off? I'm leaning towards he wants to take the rest of the year off, spend time with family, and go for a job in the winter, because it's weird to join a team and be like a high profile candidate in the middle of the year. So that's where I'm at.
Without a doubt, I think definitely he takes the year because, again, I think Philly's a sneaky team to watch out for. You're so right with that with Dave Dombrowski. Um, but I think, obviously, you even saw last year, and I know I keep alluding to the NBA. Go check out our Celtics Nation Rise podcast so you can hear me yap about that. But that's definitely my bread and butter over there. But even with the Celtics, you look at it, the NBA as a whole, a lot of coaches will wait. I mean, what Taylor Jenkins just now became Milwaukee's new head coach. What, he got fired last offseason.
A little over
Obviously,
a year ago, yeah.
yeah. Obviously, it's different with baseball, but I think Alex Cora definitely takes the year. And you know what's weird to me, David? What's weird to me is I don't know how I feel about making such a big drastic move right in the middle of the season. I think if things aren't working, you do it at the end of the year. Obviously, Red Sox just wanted a big shift, but and I guess we're still like early in the season. What, we're like 27 games in, so it's like you still have a long season to go. But again, you think you would do this move next year, but something must have been happening then for them to pull the trigger on this huge news, and something must have been happening for them to make it so quick. That's what I'm coming down to.
I think it's 100% based on that last point from you, where something was definitely going on behind the scenes. There's going to be crazy media leaks coming out these last few weeks about Cora and his behavior. Like, there's gonna there's going to be a lot coming out regarding that. Um, yeah, it just goes to show that there's always more than meets the eye, and the fans only understand a fraction of what is going on. But yeah, to do this 27 games in is crazy. I don't know if this is them just waving the white flag for the last 130 plus games, or is this their way of trying to save the season before it's too late, or is it a little bit of both? I don't know. Like it's interesting, and that'll lead us into our next segment where we're gonna announce who the manager is, the new interim manager for the Red Sox, and it is the one and only Chad Tracy, formerly the Woo Sox manager. It was tweeted out today. I don't know by who, but I did see on Twitter that Chad Tracy was absent from the Woo Sox dugout in the middle innings of the game. And little do we know, he himself was getting called up to the big leagues. Griffin, I don't know if you've seen those videos online. I think they did it with Roman Anthony and a few other players where he called Chad Tracy, the Woo Sox manager, is calling the players in the office and telling them they're getting called up to the big leagues. Really emotional video. I think a couple years ago when a reliever, Cam Boozer, got called up to the Sox. That was a great video, and Chad Tracy had a blast delivering the news. So I hope we see one of those videos where Chad Tracy gets called in the office and gets to react to him being called up himself. But Chad Tracy is the new interim manager of the Red Sox.
No, yeah, congratulations. From I'm not gonna lie, I've definitely seen the videos, but I need to be up on my Woo Sox because I'm a Portland guy. I stay I work at the Sea Dogs. I see a lot of Sea Dogs, but I just looked him up. He's young. He's young. That's a promising thing for me. He's young. He's been in the game recently, so that really gives you some hope. And I look at this whole move and everything, again, he was the last step with Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer before they were up here with the big leagues. And, I look at this move and I think it's promising having such young guys. But yeah, I'm excited for it, David.
So Chad Tracy is 45 years old. And as you talked about, Griffin, he spent 10 years in the major leagues from 2004 to 2013, most of that time being spent with the Arizona Diamondbacks. And as a he has 300 wins. He reached 300 wins as the Woo Sox manager last August in 2025. He was the Woo Sox manager from 2022 up until today. And another fun full circle fact is that his dad was a manager in baseball, and his dad was hired mid-season by a team. And that same season he got hired mid-season, he went on to win Manager of the Year. So that's a fun little. Maybe that's a good omen. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. But that's a fun little fact there. And yeah, as you talked about, he as recently as last summer was managing Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony, two of the key parts of this team. Whenever Christian Campbell gets back involved in this, he managed him a lot, both this year and last year. Um, I mean, Connolly early as well, Peyton Tolley. So I think this is a really solid. This is a low risk, high reward move for me because this is a great opportunity for a guy like Chad Tracy, who is highly regarded from what I hear in the Red Sox organization, to compare this to the Celtics, Griffin, like Joe Mazzulla, start off with the interim tag and then maybe get that tag removed if he does well later in the season. And like Joe Mazzulla, I think Chad Tracy is going to have every opportunity to get that interim tag removed. And I think this is his job to lose. So I think this is a low risk, high reward opportunity for the Sox. And I don't have any qualms about this hire. I thought maybe it could go to Andrew Bailey, the pitching coach, because he was left on the staff. He was not one of the players that got fired. He's obviously best buds with Craig Breslow, as we know. They were both 2013 World Series champions together. But I think Chad Tracy is a solid hire for this youthful team.
No, 100%, David. I completely agree with you. And I think, again, you said it with Joe Mazzulla. This is another guy who really can help I was about to say Celtics, help the Red Sox. And again, I think he could do promising things this year. Again, a lot of familiarity with the younger guys. And I'm all for it, David. I'm all for it.
So he's the interim manager. The interim hitting coach is Colin Hetzler, who was Chad Tracy's hitting coach in Worcester. I had to look that up also. I did not recognize that name. And then we have an interim third base coach as well. This is someone you know very well, Griffin. Chad Epperson. So I'm going to give you the floor here. Chad Epperson was the Portland Sea Dogs manager. Now he's getting called to the show. He's leapfrogging AAA. He's getting a call to the big leagues. And, like the meme, the big leagues are calling. Like he held up his phone and the big leagues were calling. But Griffin, as someone who works for the Sea Dogs and has been around Chad Epperson, you know him definitely way better than me. So I'm going to give you the floor to talk about him and what Red Sox fans should expect from him.
I would say there were so many times, even last year, I've seen him get thrown out, and I love every second of it, and I'm sure he does too. And he almost got thrown out today.
Is he like a feisty guy?
He's a feisty guy. He's funny. He's a funny guy. You have to rewatch the Red Sox documentary, and you'll hear. But he's such a good guy, and has such like I haven't spoke words with him, but I even know at media day, we were he just credited the front office staff and was so nice. So he spoke highly of everyone there, and just a very nice guy and a very successful guy. I believe he got his, quote me if I'm wrong, last year he broke a win record or something like that. You'll have to look that one up. I'm not sure, David, but he is phenomenal. And it shocked me. I thought, David, when you said he was getting moved up, when you said that today, I really thought he was going to be the Red Sox new manager, because I think that's how good he is. He is phenomenal. He's a phenomenal coach. And again, you see the guys like Marcelo Meyer and Franklin Arias and like all of these guys being so successful. And it started off like with him, because how great of a coach he has been, and how great of a manager. So I think, you could expect to see him stay up there with the Red Sox, which I'm not going to lie, I'm a little sad about, David. I'm sad our season's cut short with him. You're expected it with the players because, they get called up and called down, da da da. But with the coaches, you typically see them stay. So I'm not going to lie, I didn't know today was going to be his last game coaching the Sea Dogs. But congratulations, because he's a great guy, great person, and love to see that. I love to see that.
So you were right. He is the winningest manager in Sea Dogs history, and he earned that title last August when he got his 283rd win. So last August, back in retrospect, was a huge offseason for the future, huge moment, huge month for the future Sox coaches, because Chad Tracy got his 300th win in late August last year, and then Epperson got his 283rd win. I mean, we got the Chads here. We get two Chads.
Yeah, and
Literally.
he's up to 300 wins today. I think maybe today was 301, maybe. I don't know. Because Sea Dogs won today, but
So
300 mark.
we got 600 combined wins, over 600 combined wins between our new third base coach and our new coach.
And that's nuts, David. That's nuts. I feel like you look at that, I don't know, that blows me away.
And yeah, like before these guys got to Chad Tracy, they had to get through Chad Epperson. Like Peyton Tolley had a nice little cup of coffee in Portland last year, and then a cup of coffee in Worcester, and then went up to Boston. Now he spent more time in Worcester this year, but like that's a guy I think about. Um, Eduardo Rivera, the last coach before he worked with Cora, was Chad Epperson. And as we know, Eduardo Rivera had a great debut for the Red Sox great MLB
Early,
debut
early,
period.
early spent a lot of time with him. Mikey Romero. You go down the list of a lot of guys. The Password spent some time with him. Obviously, Myers spent a ton of time with him because he was in Double A longer than Triple A. I feel like, but you go down the list, a lot of guys spent a lot of time with him.
So I think we got to give the Sox a little bit of credit here for this thinking, where it's like we're getting younger. A lot of these guys, spent a lot of these guys that are going to be key contributors to our major league team have spent most of the last few years in the minors with these coaches. What better for some familiarity with them, get them more comfortable again. Like we need to have a organizational shift. So I don't know this. I, I've been energized, even though we're 10-17. Griffin, I've been energized the whole season as a Sox fan. This is the most I've ever been into baseball. This just gets me even more excited. Like for me, the rest of the season is however the rest of the season goes. I mean, at this point, I don't think especially with the moves today, I think it's highly unlikely. It's not looking great for our chances to make the playoffs, but anything can happen. But I'm just looking to see this team grow. And I think, you know, we got to be patient with this team now because obviously there's a lot of moving and changing parts. But I'm optimistic. It's going to take time, and I think Red Sox fans, especially here in the 2020s, have just been used to being told to be patient and let things fall as they may. But I'm optimistic about the future because it seems like we're locking up this core of players and potentially managers for the next few years to come if it all works out well.
No, I agree, and I agree 100%. I look at it, and again, Epperson and Tracy, I feel like those are guys that, they've been in the system, the organization for a while, and you look at it, and I think they're going to continue to be in this organization for a long, long time. And I just hope Veritek ends up with Portland. That would be pretty nice. They need themselves a guy like that.
Yeah, so let's talk about that quickly with Veritek. So you think he's going to coach Portland? I
I
think
don't.
it's going to be Worcester. I don't think
It'll
we're
be
going to promote him 2 levels.
No, it'll be Worcester. It'll be Worcester because Worcester, you look at it like those are the guys on the verge of it. Like, those are the guys on the verge of being in the MLB. So, and he's had experience in the MLB. I think it's going to be Worcester. But I look at it, I wouldn't be so mad if it was Portland, but I don't think it will be. I really don't.
Here's the other thing that's weird to me, though, Griffin, is that wouldn't they have just announced it right away if he was going to be the manager of the Woo Sox or the Sea Dogs? Like they're saying at a later date. So that makes me think it's a little bit more of like um, a specific project that he's going to be working on because I feel like they could have just announced right away.
Well, I have a different theory for you, David, too. Like, what if behind the scenes you kind of look at it, and what if he eventually is the Red Sox new manager? Like, say this never doesn't work out with Tracy, could he be next up?
I see where you're coming from with that, and I think here's what I've always thought with Veritek. I think if he wants to be manager, he will be the manager of the Red Sox. I just don't know if he wants to do it. Like I
Yeah.
don't. He's never really not that bench coaches talk to the media too much, but I don't think he's ever been a guy that's like to talk to the media. Like he's always been like even when he went back to playing with the Sox, now whatever 15, 20 years ago, like he was never a guy that I don't think liked to be in front of the media. He just liked to let his game do the talking. So I don't know. I wonder if it's like a little bit of both, where it's like he doesn't really want to be the manager, but they're going to leave the door open and they're going to give him experience managing and less pressure environments such as a Sea Dogs or Woo Sox team. So where not all the eyes are on him, and maybe they'll let him see if he likes it, and then he can pursue either a manager opportunity here or with another organization. And then if he doesn't like it, maybe he can go back to doing something else for the Sox. But I do think I am happy he's staying on. I mean, obviously, it's not a good look for him when he's the run prevention coach, and obviously the Red Sox have not been great this season at preventing runs, given their 10-17 record. But a guy like Veritek, you got to keep around. He seems like a great guy that can, get any clubhouse to want to play for him. So whatever it is, I hope he does well. I just thought that the wording in that announcement from the Sox was strange, where it's like, he's getting re-signed, and we're not going to tell you now. We're just going to talk about it later. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm interested to see what comes from that.
Yeah, definitely interested. And I agree with you, David. Like like that's gonna be a big talking point and a podcast point once we get to that again.
All right. Let's talk about we'll start wrapping this up here, but before we wrap up, we got to talk about, yes, the man, the myth, the legend, crushing it in double A, and better yet, crushing it for our Portland Sea Dogs in double A. We're going to do a little bit of dog talk here. And what better person to do some dog talk with than Griffin, who works for the Sea Dogs?
Oh,
So, Arias, Franklin Arias, one the number 2 prospect for the Red Sox, only behind Peyton Tolley, is crushing it in double A Griffin to start the year. In 15 games, he's batting .420. His on-base percentage is .492, and his on-base plus slugging percentage is .920. And he has 7 home runs over 15 games. I believe that's correct. And he hit a walk-off home run today, right?
yeah, walk-off home run.
When we're recording this, April 25th, he hit a walk-off homer. It seems like every day I log into Twitter, Griffin, it's just another video on either Carabas, Milliken, or Robbie Hyde's feed where it's like, oh, Franklin Arias homered again.
Yeah.
So what else can you tell us about Franklin Arias?
No, he's been incredible. Obviously, I've been working, so I haven't had a lot of time to study him, but I've been also in the radio booth, so hearing what's going on. And the other day had a couple home runs, and he's just been killing it. I mean, he's been phenomenal. He had at a point in this season, he was batting, I think, 580 at one point. Like he was nuts and still is. And Emma, the Sea Dogs broadcaster, she always says his OPS is always off the scoreboard from how high it is. He's incredible, and no joke. Yesterday when he was playing, I could like you couldn't see the full number because it was so high, it was off of it. He's phenomenal, and I'm hoping we get to get the courtesy of having him in Portland for maybe another month. That would be nice. I hope so. Again, maybe that will be the case because there's a lot of shortstops up with the Woo Sox, but it's been such a pleasure to have him in the organization. And this is a guy who's just going to continue. And, I said this at first, he kind of reminds me of a mini Xander Bogaerts, and I kind of, I look at this and I'm like, wow, this is by far like, obviously I would come up to games when I was younger. I saw Ceddanne Rafaela play down there, Bobby Dolbeck, who else? Marcelo Meyer. I've seen some guys play in Portland, but I think Aria is by far the best I've seen there. I would say not a close second, but a second is definitely the password. I thought he was pretty good last year. I know RIP, he's in Pittsburgh right now, crushing it. But I think Aria is definitely the best player I've seen in Portland by far, and that gives me a lot of hope and promise. But I also want to mention before you go too, David, Eduardo Rivera. He was it was nuts because again he had two starts I think with the Sea Dogs, and then boom gets jumped right up. And then also I want to give a little report too. Hollabets, the pitcher for the Sea Dogs, he's been performing pretty well. And also Ferguson comes back from the IL and has been crushing it as well. But there are some good players in Portland. And again, to Arias though, I think he's gonna be phenomenal. So watch out for him because he's gonna be really good.
Yeah, so just a correction with Franklin here. He's hitting 420. His OPS is 1.412. So that gets to your point earlier, Griffin, where the OPS is off the screen. And that's just crazy. Obviously, a pinch hit, walk off homer today. Um,
Nuts.
yeah, I like Xander Bogarts. I mean, him being 5'10" and just pumping out homers reminds me of Mookie Betts, just a home run hitter who's under 6 feet. So that gets me hyped up. But honestly, I mean, I'm excited for the future with the Arias as well because I think he could slot in perfectly with our team, with the Red Sox. As soon as Trevor Story's contract is up, he could slot in as either a shortstop. I believe he can play second base as well, so that middle infield, and then Meyer could be the other guy. And not to get too off track, but a guy like Mikey Romero can play like the corner at third. He's been crushing in Worcester. He's just been hitting the ball very hard off the bat. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. And the Red Sox pipeline. And as you talked about, Griffin, with Eduardo Rivera and his MLB debut, 3 1/3 shutout innings, allowing just one hit that came in the Red Sox loss against the Yankees on Wednesday. But still, really, really love to see that from Rivera. He got optioned right back to the minors after that. But I mean, a fantastic performance when the Red Sox needed it to help save some other arms in the bullpen. So, yeah, I mean, I think Arias definitely at some point this year is getting called up to Worcester. I'd love to be able to go to a Sea Dogs and Woo Sox game and see Arias at both of them. But yeah, I mean, exciting times for the future. The Red Sox as well. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but like the Greenville Drive Griffin, their starting rotation is incredible. You got Kyson Witherspoon, Anthony Jansen. Even though he just, I think, got put on the injured list, Juan Valera is another one. So I would remember those names, Griffin, because they may be up in Portland at some point this season, and hopefully they're throwing gems for the Sea Dogs rotation at some point. So it's
Yeah.
exciting. I mean, these guys. It's going to be a few years until these guys make a true impact on the Red Sox, but I like talking about it. I mean, it's a sign of what the future can be like.
No, without a doubt, David. And again, I think you nailed it. I think you said it all right there. But I agree. I'm telling you, you gotta come next homestand to a Sea Dogs game, or else he's gonna be called up before you know it. I gotta say.
No, for sure. I mean that's weighing on the back of my mind too. Is before it's too late because yeah, I mean with the way Arias is playing, yeah, he may need to face his next challenge, and that's playing against AAA competition. So I'm gonna try and make it up there for sure. But I think that's all we got. Um, we're gonna try and do these podcasts for you monthly. Hope you guys like the dog talk segment, and then we'll get some more Woo Sox talk next time. But yeah, we're gonna try and do monthly podcasts, just recapping the month on Red Sox baseball. This is a little bit more unique because this is more related to recent news, rightfully so. I mean, this is the biggest storyline in the MLB by far today, so we had to come on and talk about it. And it just so happened to come towards the end of the month as well. But yeah, that is going to do it for us today. Appreciate you all tuning in to the Chasing the Monster podcast. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends to watch. Alongside Griffin, I'm David, signing off. Hope you guys all have a great night. Take care.